So next, I'm super excited for Lyle to be on this meeting. Lyle is not just in finance, but he's also my best friend. I'm so excited to have him on. And can everyone see who else is on the meeting as well as the shared screen? Just because I would like to introduce you individually so you can put a name to a face. So Lyle, I'd just like you to meet, I'll get Dee to put her hand up first. That's Dee. And then we've got Grace as well, you know, Paul, we've got Steve, then we've got Blair. Hugh.
How are you going?
Yeah, Hugh, we got Sonny, thanks for jumping on, Sonny, and Manish as well.
How are we going?
We are meeting a few as well, so but this meeting's recorded, so we'll get them to play it back. But Lyle, I'll hand you over the mic, and yeah, just please introduce yourself, and we'll go through that and some further questions.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Cassie. Obviously, guys, I've met a few of you now. Been working with a few of you as well. So have a look out as well. There's a few more emails to come through today. Just to give you a background for us, we pretty much started up a few years ago after working alongside with Metricon, so a lot of construction deals as well. We like to take a bit of a different approach, which is more of a hand-holding with your customers and obviously helping the consultants more to actually sell and close. You know, I guess that's the basics of it, but really we like to more nurture the customers to make sure that they actually follow through as well. Big thing for us is obviously understanding, you know, more than one bank policy. So we like to make sure that we know all 40 that are under our aggregator. We've got a few different solutions that are a bit, you know, more than what you'd usually have a look at. We like to make sure that we've got a few specialist lenders in there as well for those out of the ordinary. But our real approach is, you know, every customer is able to buy a house. You know, every investor is able to get another one. It's mainly just how you look at that file. So, you know, I don't think that there's any that, you know, unless they're not working or something like that, that you couldn't potentially have as a customer. So, sorry, just getting another call.
Yeah, awesome, perfect. And like one of the first questions would love to know is, what would you say makes you and your company unique to other finance brokers? Because I know I've heard everything, and that's why it was definitely worked out well to bring you on board. So I just, yeah, would love to hear it from your sense of
yeah.
as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So to give you a bit of an idea, obviously when you go into most banks, you know, they'll tell you, yep, you can borrow this or come back in 6 months when you've got a bit more money. Obviously, you know, from personal experience as well, that doesn't really help customers. So our focus, again, is around that customer. It's to make sure that they understand the finance process. You know, they don't need to know all of the mumbo jumbo, but they need to know why either they're getting pushed back or what they actually need to do to, you know, fulfill those needs. We like to be more informative, and obviously, again, you know, setting out structures, things like savings plans, if we need to change debts around, why we're doing that, obviously what capacity is. So we're a bit more, you know, information heavy, but at the same time, we run under that principle of, you know, KISS, which is keep it simple, stupid, just to make sure that that customer actually understands what they're doing. And obviously, if they've got goals, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is, we're aligned with that, and also with the consultants we work with to make sure that they can actually get through all of those goals.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, you know, working out, most brokers will know 2 or 3 banks really well. We try to make sure that we know all 40 banks. So, you know, because each bank will have different policies, they'll have different procedures. If you know those grey areas or what they look at, things like income, you know, so we had a situation a few days ago where the customer was having 2 jobs. Most banks will take 80% of the second job, or they won't take it at all. We try to find banks that will take 100% of the, you know, the overall. So that gives comfort to the customer. It's just about educating them.
Yeah, and I've got all those banks as well listed in one of the slides. So it's just amazing to see how many banks you're actually working with, which is absolutely widens the opportunity and outcome. And what's your best advice and lessons you can teach our team when dealing with a client during the finance process?
The experience that we've had and the things that work probably the best with our consultants is obviously working together. as you can see with most of the consultants that we've talked to so far, we try to make sure that it's it's both of us helping the customer. For some reason in this industry, a lot of brokers sort of feel like you are distant from the person you're working with, and it almost becomes a competition. So obviously that transparency, you'll see I'll push back a little bit as well. And it's not a bad thing. It's just mainly if I have a talk to a customer, I want to make sure that they're comfortable and they don't feel like it's a pressured thing. Obviously you guys, your job is the sales, and that's what we're there to facilitate as well. We want you guys to make that sale. Obviously, if you guys don't make the sale, we don't do the finance, vice versa. If we can't get the finance, you don't make the sale. So it's working together as that group. And the biggest thing is obviously working as that team. So, I'm always open for questions. If you guys have scenarios and stuff like that, run them past. But the biggest thing is obviously making sure that whoever we're both selling to is aligned with us and makes, that comfort around the actual sales process is all there. We don't want them to go, these guys are a bit pushy, or, it feels like it's a competition. We want them to go, you know what, I came through, had a chat with Lyle and Steve, both of them, absolutely guided me through it. All I had to do was sign the bit of paper and, I got my house. That's our whole, our whole thing is to make it as easy for the customer so that they do come back.
Yeah.
Buying a house is a scary thing, especially first home buyers. It's one of the biggest investments they'll do in their lives. So you want that process to be as easy as possible for them.
Yeah, amazing. So super streamlined and comfortable for them too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what do you expect and need from our consultants to help you bet? Oh, I just said that. Did I just say that, guys? Yes, I did. Here we go. No, we've already gone through. Yeah, that's all the questions I've got. I feel like we've
just expanding on. We'll just expand on that one a little bit. So obviously, just for your consultants, I'm not sure how long everyone's been in the job and everything like that, but obviously my job here is also to guide you guys on the finance so they understand it. You don't need to know the intricate things, but similar to me, I want to know what products you have. I also want to explain to you guys why we do certain things. So if we need, say, 6 months or 9 months for a customer, it doesn't mean that they're not a good customer. It means that it's a pipeline deal and that we're constantly working with them. Just little things like that to keep in mind. Obviously, I want the deposits to go through as quickly as possible, like yourselves. But if I feel like the customer needs that little bit of time, I'll push back on that and I'll say, these are the reasons why. And that's when we make that, arrangement. Yep, we'll follow up every week or every month, whatever the customer needs, just to make sure those deposits actually stick.
Yeah, amazing. And obviously the consultants can reach out to you whenever to just get advice.
Absolutely. Any scenarios and things like that, I'll try and make sure that I've at least made the first contact within that first 24 hours, preferably, in the first few hours. But unfortunately, sometimes we get a bit backlogged. But absolutely, first contacts are always 24 hours. We'll make sure that we do a phone call, a text message, and an email if we have the email address there. And we can CC, the consultants in so they can see that as well. And I'll text them. I'll usually text the customer as well, because I know sometimes emails might go junk mail, or they might look and, don't know who they are, so they don't look. If it's a text, then at least they've got their phone there. Everyone lives on their phone. So they'll say, yep, Lyle from ACS. Yep, Hugh or Steve or Blair has sent me through, your details. At least then that's that personal contact as well. If I'm not getting through to them for some reason, then I'll let the consultant know, yep, can you give them a call? Let them know I'm, trying to get onto them. Because obviously you're the first point of contact, so they'll feel a bit more, safe with you guys. Then obviously you can introduce me in.
Yeah, perfect. And to expand on that on my end and our end, it's if obviously we've got a process where they'll send you the email with the finance introduction, and then where if they call you or text you, you said 24 hours is usually the time frame as to when you'll get back to them, to the consultant, or to the actual client?
To both. So we'll make sure that within that first 24 hours, we'll talk to or attempt to talk to the customer. If we don't have any luck, then I'll liaise that usually with the consultant, just saying, look, send a text or, whatever. And obviously we're working on your pipeline as well. So I'll have to just work with Paul a little bit later just to figure out exactly what your process is, so that I'm fresh over that. Once we've got all that and, your process is there, I'll work off your process. So if you have someone that's really urgent, send me through the details, give me a call and say, look, these guys need a call in the next half an hour or so. I'll let you know if I can do that. Or if I need, say, an hour, I'll let you know, yep, okay, I can do it in an hour. Can we book this in? You can go back to the customer and say, look, he'll be here at this time. Is that suitable? At least there's that, transparency on where we are.
Yeah, awesome. And you've also got a team behind you. So if you do ever get backlogged, there is that opportunity to have someone else, but you obviously will manage the structure of that.
Correct. So I've given Cassie the details of another one of my colleagues who's very good. His name is Wesley. So if for some reason I'm completely gone, and I'll let you know prior to that if I, am not there, you can give him a call as well, and he'll be able to follow up for you as well.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much, Lyle. And yes, Blair, question.
Hi, Lyle. It's nice to see your face. I can totally vouch for Lyle because I've actually been dealing with him myself, and the options that he's given me and the goals that he's given me is incredible. As well as I've sent him a client who's actually been waiting quite a while to hear from other brokers, and she called me, and she's been calling me for weeks and weeks and weeks, but she called me yesterday and was just like, oh my God, he's already called me and he's already contacted me. And Lyle's CC'd me into the email as well, so I feel obviously included into that process, and obviously can help her now as well. So yeah, it's very positive on my side.
Thank you, Blair. Again, it's these are your customers. I want you guys to understand that. Obviously, my job here is just to expand on what you're doing. So, I appreciate the feedback, and it's good that customers are coming back to you, telling you those things. Obviously, I want to hear all the feedback, good and bad. So if they weren't happy about something, or they didn't understand something, obviously send that through. I'm not going to take offense to that. That's how we all grow. So all feedback is good feedback. So, okay.
Yeah, definitely. Perfect. And
yeah, Lyle. Yeah, Lyle. Yep. Just on that, mate, with a bit of feedback. Firstly, welcome aboard, mate.
Thank you.
We're all going to sort of wrap our arms around you, and let's, as you said, it's a win-win sort of team effort with the communication. So let's make that happen. But yeah, we took a deposit, which you're probably aware of, last night.
Maddie.
From Jeremy and Maddie.
Beautiful.
Yeah, just wanted to let you know that Maddie had nothing but great words to say about you, mate.
I'm glad.
Very, very highly of you. Yeah. So.
And look, all your consultants, are fantastic. I've really enjoyed so far. It's only been a week or so, but everyone on your team is exceptional, and they're all hardworking. So kudos to that as well. So it's also very hard to find motivated consultants. So obviously, a pat on the back for everyone.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, very proud of this team.
just another one there, Lyle, just to sort of help the other team in regards to the other banks. You've got sort of 40 banks. If they had that sort of question, which is not where they sort of really want to go, but yeah, what are some of the other banks?
So typically for you guys, if you're working with construction banks, you've probably got a choice of about 8 to 10. Obviously, construction loans are a little bit more specialised than your typical lending. So just to give you a rundown, your big four, which will be Commonwealth Bank, ANZ, Westpac and NAB, are usually the higher lending ones. So they'll go all the way up to 95% for your loan. Obviously, we have to factor in lender's mortgage insurance. So just roughly off that, if you were going to try work it out in your head, work out about 8% to 10% as a deposit for total funds. Okay, obviously we can change that a little bit as higher lenders, but just as a typical sort of range, that's what we try to work with. Then we have AFG, which is our aggregator. They white label a lot of banks. So what they do is they borrow money from places like ANZ and make their own products. We've also got a bit of flexibility with them to change certain things. So if it's a out of the ordinary deal, we can go push on them to sort of get things around those grey areas. And sometimes they work with us. Just obviously depends on how secure, the deal is. Banks at the moment are a little bit risk adverse, but again, understanding all their policies, we can push back on that. So, at the moment we haven't really had anyone that's been knocked back. It's more about just understanding what they want to see.
All right, no worries. I will follow up as well.
Awesome. I know we're catching up on
with all the emails you received.
Someone got some background mute.
Okay.
Might be mine. Let me just mute and see if that helps.
So yeah, just a question, mate. I know we're catching up on Saturday to sort of run through the other process and you know, understand the other sort of wealth creation and sort of setting some plans there. But just for the other guys in regards to weekends, what without sort of stretching the other friendship, what are your sort of commitments and availability?
So I still work weekends. Obviously, hours still, you know, up until 10 p.m. if you need calls and things like that. I do spend sometimes on a Saturday a few hours, just obviously with the partner. But look, if you send me emails, texts, things like that, I do try to get back to you, you know, as soon as possible. If it's urgent, absolutely, give me a call, shoot me a text, just in case I'm, you know, trying to exercise or something like that. Trying to lose the dad bod at the moment, but everything else is, I work 7 days, so I'm not worried about working weekends. If you need something urgently, just give me a call. If I don't pick up the first time, just, you know, call again, and I'll make sure I get back to you.
Yeah, thanks for that, mate. Probably just one other question, just in regards to the other grants. Can you sort of just share with the other guys there how that sort of works with the sort of rollout and when that's going to be paid and how that sort of works?
Yep. So if we're talking about first homeowners grant, obviously that's the big one that really everyone's doing, and we've also got the home builder grant, which is that new incentive from the government. First homeowners grant, you can use that as a deposit. So when we're looking at funds to complete, and obviously a few of you will have seen my workings out, you can use that in there when the banks are looking to see what you've got as a deposit plus any other contribution. With the builders grants, unfortunately, Victoria and New South Wales, you can't use that as funds to complete. So the way that works is you'll get that at the end. If it's during construction, you'll get that at the base stage. So you'll settle the land once they've started building. During that base stage, they'll also pay the first homeowners grant, which just gets paid pretty much straight to the builder. With that builder's grant, though, that will actually go into your account. So we can't use it as a deposit, but obviously it's 25 grand that they'll receive once the building has started. There's still a few things that they're a little bit ambiguous on that they're trying to change. And I think some of that will be lined up with the banks, but typically the bank's appetite for it is it's a bonus at the end of it. You can use it for your curtains or your landscaping and things like that. But yeah, unfortunately can't use it as funds to complete.
Yep. So that gets paid directly to the other client, not the other bank.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct. So it's the same as SRO. They'll nominate an account, which will usually be the bank account that we either open up. Say we went through Westpac and we need to open an account. We'll nominate that account in there when we do the form, and then it'll be paid at the end of that.
Yep. Fantastic. And just one other sort of question there, mate, just in regards just to sort of help the other guys as well. What's, in your view, what's an ideal customer and what's a difficult customer?
Good questions, Paul.
Very good question. There's not really an ideal customer. Everyone's a little bit different. Look, typically your ideal customer would be somebody with a lot of money for a deposit, straightforward jobs, PAYG, they're very simple. But really there's not an ideal customer. You could have the most simple, scenario, but something could happen and, it goes pair up. And you could have somebody that you'd think would be really difficult and the bank loves them. So the ideal customer is obviously someone that, is willing to actually approach you guys. That's the biggest thing. It's that taking that first step for me, that if we need to give them a savings plan or anything like that, they're actually going to adhere to that and, work on it. There's a lot of people that sort of get scared out of it, which, it's not ideal, but again, it's not so much their fault. It's just they don't understand. So if a customer's scared, it's just they don't have enough information. The worst customers are probably the people that will be constantly shopping around for rates and things like that. Even when you give them, the total package, they think, unfortunately, you can get better rates or something. Sometimes we just can't, but you don't really get a lot of that anymore. You sort of used to get that more probably about 2 or 3 years ago when the banks were trying to be more competitive. But at the moment, everyone's, the prices are so low for lending. What you make on your house versus what you're actually paying is always sort of level. So there's not really a good and a bad customer. It's mainly just what information they need. So we just look at all the customers the same way, which is, what's your scenario? How can we help you? And, you're willing to do what we say and guide you. So that's about it, really.
Yeah, fantastic. No, well done, Lyle. That's awesome, mate. Just in regards to, just to make it easier for you and the rest of the other guys, Cassie's done a lot of work and sort of put the the financial introduction form together. So we've included the Australian citizen, because I know there's sometimes pushback on that. So when they come through, we should have that answered for you.
Beautiful.
Lyle, would you, hey mate, doing a fantastic job. Would you mind doing something for the team that we can share? And it's simply, just want to get a template in terms of 450K, 500K, 550 and 600K in terms of average repayments. So for example, let's say that someone was paying $2,000 a month rent. That means if they transferred that money and they were paying that on a mortgage, they might qualify for 500 grand. So if we're talking to them and we're saying, hey, how much rent are you paying at the moment? Like $2 grand. Well, obviously for the same amount of money, you could actually own your own property. So if we could have a small template, also in, it can just be a small, another sheet, but 450K, how much earnings per annum you'd really ideally like them to be on. So for 450K, normally it might be 60K plus. For 500K, they need to be on 70K. So that way we don't get on the phone to a client and we find out they're on 60K, but they want to buy something for 600 grand. They're not going to lend 10 times their income. That's just going to help us when we're doing the BCs. And also sometimes we coordinate the BC and the Zoom call first. If the client has a strong deposit, I want to jump on it with them straight away, not necessarily wait for you to return your BC, but I also want to make sure that our consultants are, for example, educated enough to know if they're on 60 grand, they're not going to buy a 500, 550 house. So if you had that template, we could send that out. That'd be really handy. The guys can quickly print it out and just go, this is our broad range, because specifically we're selling houses and land package between that 450, 600,000. But really good feedback. Thanks for coming back to me late at night. I think Lyle and I had a chat at like 9:30 the other night. So he does burn the midnight oil, and he does give us good feedback. As I said, mate, just let us know if you get to your capacity, so we're not overloading you, and then we can go on to your associate as well. So thank you, mate.
Perfect. No, appreciate it. Just around that, obviously, I can absolutely do that. What I'll do is have a bit of a breakdown as well for your funds to complete. So I'll do packages for, say, 450, 500, 550. I'll do one with first homeowners grants and obviously one without, because you'll have to factor stamp duty and other costs in there. So you can have, sort of 6 templates for how much it's going to cost. You'll know roughly, if they've got a 50 grand deposit, you can actually put in there, I've got 50 grand, and it'll tell you if they need to keep saving. And then obviously I'll do a quick servicing calculator on a few different figures, if they're single, joint, if they've got one dependent. Obviously, it's a little bit different around all different kinds of debts, because that chews into the servicing as well. But I'll try and make it as, transparent. So if we go, single earns, around this will be the thing. If we got, if we've got credit cards as well, what that sort of impacts as well. So I can work that out for you probably today, if not tomorrow, so that you can send it on for all your future calls.
Amazing. Thank you. And does anyone else have any? Oh, sorry, Paul. Did you?
Yeah, sorry, Lyle. Yeah, if you get a chance, mate. If I can have a look at those tomorrow with you, that
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And does anyone else have any questions they'd like to ask Paul, ask Lyle while they've got the opportunity? I have one, if no one else does.
Yeah.
Just like what to you is the average time frame from when you first contact a client to when you have obtained their borrowing capacity, and it could get to the stage where then we can go through the property options with them? What's the rough time frame on that?
So usually what I would like to do is have a quick introduction call, obviously from yourselves, sit down, have that quick finance call, and that can only be 15 minutes. It doesn't have to be content heavy. If they give me enough information that I'm satisfied, I can pretty much tell you capacity straight away. What I like to do though is also package up a deal. So obviously some of your consultants will be able to tell you that I'll call back and say, what are we looking at price wise around here? While I work the servicing out in the background, I'll also work out a funds position once we've got a package. If you just need a straight answer on capacity, but you want to take a deposit, I want to verify what they actually have. So customers like to float numbers a little bit. Obviously, if it's a rough number, I can give you a rough capacity. But if we're, looking at something and, let's say it comes out as 550 as the capacity and we've got a package for 550, I want to make sure we verify that obviously before taking any deposits. Just because there's been a lot of times when I've worked previously where, you actually have a look at the situation, things like overtime and, other factors. They might have hex debt and things that they forget to tell you over the phone, which then obviously we have to go back and restructure, the entire deal. So I can get you a capacity back pretty much straight away. The real answer is once it's verified, it's just as quick as the customers can send the documents. So all I need is pay slips or tax returns, things to work off like that. And obviously an overview of what debts they have. But really, if you just need the basic, we can get you a range 400 to 450 or something pretty much straight away over the phone.
Amazing. I suppose that goes to a good customer where they're quick with the return documents.
Yeah, and look, all your customers so far, and I'll always follow them up if it's been a day or so and we haven't heard back, have been pretty spot on. So that also shows that your consultants are pushing, making sure that customers are comfortable and also backing that up, because then the customers come back and go, yep, I forgot to get the docs, here they are. So
amazing. All right. Well, if anyone doesn't have any other questions, Lyle, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we're
appreciate your time, guys.
Have you on board. So I know you're a busy man, and if you need to jump off, that's fine. Otherwise, we're just going to continue going through the meeting this morning.
Beautiful. Appreciate it, guys. You've all got my details there. If you need anything, text, call, email, whatever it is, and I'll get back to you.
Will do.
Thanks, Lyle.
And
Thanks, guys.
see ya.